Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Star Trek Ganymede, Season 1, Episode 13, Death on the Thames. I am your... Thames, sorry. Death on the Thames. I am your engineer, Commander Korn, and I'll be engineering today's game. But I am not the GM, so without further ado, let's bring in our lovely GM and our rest of our players.
Right. All right. We will be getting started in just a moment. Is our Lieutenant Commander ready to give his opening log? Carrick, you there? Carrick, you.
Yes, but I'm muted. Sorry.
You're good.
And ready?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Stuck in officer's log. Stardate 55917.6. Lieutenant Commander Carrick, Chief Security Officer, USS Ganymede. Lieutenant Carrick and I are currently on Deep Space Aegis in order to receive a dignitary from Halmad 3. The Hamadians have been conducting trade negotiations with the Federation over the past 2 weeks. However, there remains a final formality. The finished trade agreement must be signed by the Hamadian president on Halmad 3. Upon receiving the dignitary, Lieutenant Carrick and I are to then transport them and their documents from DSA to Hamad 3. The Ganymede awaits us at our destination, making the preparations for our arrival. End of report.
Here we go. And we pick up on Deep Space Aegis.
But before that, we'll be right back after the opening intro. Stay tuned.
Actually.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Star Trek Ganymede, Season 1, Episode 13, Death on the Thames. We're just waiting for our crew to get assembled, and we'll be starting in just a few moments.
Yep. Very good. The USS Valen has been replaced by the USS Gungnir.
So sad to hear what happened to them. I was a little out of it last week.
Yeah. They kind of got their captain back. Weird timey travel shenanigans. It's a whole thing.
I've heard a stranger, that's for sure.
Yeah, almost like a captain getting cloned. That's pretty freaking weird. Um. Anyways, we now pick up on Deep Space Aegis. I almost said Aracania. I'm so used to saying it. Oh, hang on. That is that M class is not there. So Deep Space Aegis is in a Jovian system, uh, big ringed gas giant, with Deep Space Aegis firmly orbiting one of the moons um, of of the world. That's what this is. It's the moon that DSA orbits. Um, Currently, and you know this, Karak and Grak, from just the time you've spent here, both when the Ganymede stopped by for the major fleet call together, and just from the few days you've been here for this mission. They're currently in the process of building uh, more permanent defenses on some of the other moons in the system. Karak, Grak, you there?
Yeah, I was just listening.
Yep.
So are these defense stations set up? Uh, what are they called? The Erdians or something?
Hmm?
Are they set up? Like, what are we? What's the concern here with all the new defenses going up on the moons? I guess is what I'm asking.
Um, the thing is, Deep Space Aegis is about to become the center of 10th Fleet operations in this area of space. Again, looking at
Uh,
the map, the Silk Road Initiative and everything, all of this is coming out of Deep Space Aegis. Um, it's a burgeoning starport on the frontier of Federation space. There are even whispers that maybe one day um, this starbase could grow and become something similar to what Earth's space dock is today, but something like that all the way out here requires a lot of defenses,
okay,
especially when you're on the very edge of Federation space. Anything could come out.
right on.
And that's actually exactly what happened. The A number of ships, I believe they were time ships, attacked Deep Space Aegis as it was uh, getting finally towed into position, um, and that was when this fallen was launched. So this is a system that has already seen combat.
And timey wimey stuff.
Yes, and timey wimey stuff.
Interesting. So we're just hanging out there. What's going on?
I'd say for this, you have actually been called up to the office of Admiral Nea.
Okay. Crack and I, or
So
just me?
yeah, just you for the
Okay.
moment.
Then I will report to the admiral.
You walk in and you see this woman, just sort of, I almost want to say average looking. A lot of these admirals tend to look a little bit samey, but she has this brown hair. You can see by her completely black uh pupils. just like not pupils, irises.
Betazoid.
Yeah, she's Betazoid. You've seen this. It's your commander, your exo is like that. So
Hmm.
um, and as you've been walking into sort of this office complex, you see a lot of there are a lot of people running around. Looks like things are very very busy. Oh, and actually,
Hmm. Lieutenant Commander Karak reporting in.
ah, Commander. Uh, sorry it's taken me so long to get around to you. Things have been rather busy here. Uh, getting set up.
Karak nods.
As you can imagine, it's rather labor intensive to set up a new power base in a region of space.
One can only imagine.
Anyways, we're putting one of our first major assignments in your hands. No pressure.
Karak just nods.
This trade agreement is quite important. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world if it fell through, but the culminite material that the Helmodians mine uh, could allow for great strides in power conduit development, and, well, the Federation would do well to get our hands on it. It was quite a race to get the ear of the Helmodians for this.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. It was quite a race to what?
To get to the to get the ear of the Helmodians for this.
Hmm. I understand.
Anyhow, the the Helmodian diplomat and his assistant should be ready to see you uh, in conference room 2A. But also, we have requisitioned for you a runabout and a small contingent of Deep Space Aegis staff to accompany you alongside with a couple of transfers for the Ganymede.
Understood.
Do you have any questions?
When are we to depart?
Uh, well, of course, it's I want to say up to you, but we'd appreciate it if you got underway within the next 2 hours.
Um, very well. Are there current scans of the route to ensure utmost safety?
That's something that we've put in the hands of the Aegis staff that are uh, organized the runabout.
Very good. Thank you, Admiral.
Uh, Dismissed.
He nods and walks away. uh, I'll.
And so when you exit, Grek is there, by the by.
Oh, okay, good. I was gonna say I was gonna call him. Okay, well then I'll relay the scenario to Greg.
All right. Looks like it's doesn't sound like that's too tough.
Not for someone of your capabilities, Lieutenant Grack.
Sure. It's not a fighter, but a runabout is it's something, I guess.
Uh, so we're supposed to meet this diplomat somewhere uh, and then get on the runabout, or are they meeting us at the runabout?
Um, uh, there's a conference room that they're waiting
Oh yeah,
for,
that's right. Conference room 2A or whatever.
and you've also been given the location of the runabout that you are to take.
Okay. Well, how long until we have to meet them in the conference room? 2 hours?
Um, that well, the admiral asked if at all possible for you to get underway in 2 hours.
Oh, right.
So it's more of a question of where do you want to go first.
Well, I would like to, you know, check out the runabout and verify the scans of the area of the route that we're taking and do all of my normal OCD security protocols, and then maybe even scan the conference room and all that stuff too, like a security sweep.
Very good. So in that case, I will bring us down to the shuttle bay. Do you see the shuttle?
Yeah, that is a
Uh,
cool map.
Yeah. So you see I'll put you guys onto the map.
oh, that's right.
Layer.
The runabouts are actually the big ones. Never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Danube
Yeah,
class runabouts.
they're pretty fast for a shuttle too, like as far as warp speed, I think.
Does this one have the torpedo launchers on the top?
uh, and crack.
Yes, that is a great question.
Um. So you two walk in, and you see this big old runabout. Uh, NCC 73279, USS Thames. And there appear to be three officers in Starfleet uniform standing right between you and the shuttlecraft. One of them is off to the side, fidgeting, kind of anxiously as the other two are arguing. What do you mean I can't put my What do you mean I can't put my bags on the shuttle yet? I'm telling you that you can't put your bags on the shuttle until the superior officers arrive. And as you look at these officers, you actually recognize two of them.
Who
I
are they?
do.
It's the chick and the bug.
Yeah, I'll
Whose
just
name I'm
stand
forgetting.
there and let them finish arguing, and then whenever they're done, I'll introduce us.
Look, I don't have time to deal with. Uh, Actually, you know what? Here they are. Lieutenant Commander.
Lieutenant or ensign, ensign.
The one who was the man who was arguing is a lieutenant.
Yeah,
Apologies, Lieutenant Gregory Morsey, Deep
greetings,
Space Aegis.
Lieutenant Commander Karak, USS Ganymede. This is Lieutenant Grack, also of the USS Ganymede.
Give a nod.
Well, this is shuttle we're going to be taking. Uh, she's pretty fast. Should get us there in day and a half.
I understand there's been a security sweep of the area. I'd like to see those scans.
Yes. Actually, I was waiting for you to join me. I was wondering if you might be willing to go over the uh might be willing to do a sweep with me.
Indeed.
Uh, just gotta make sure something. And he leans over his shoulder. Perez, have you finished loading the modules? And he yells over to the nacelle, and popping out from behind it comes an ensign in the command red. Yeah, yeah, I got him. The state suites, all loaded in.
Is that like a diplomatic package, like a
Um,
diplomatic
it,
suite or something?
if you look at the maps, if you look at the map, that's what they're like.
Okay.
And the lieutenant turns around to you, and he says, "There, this here is Perez. He's an expert in small shuttlecraft. He'll be flying for us when he'll be flying for us on the beta shift."
Understood.
And he steps forward and he says, "Now the two of us and our respective pilots will have to be sharing rooms."
Very well.
And as for you two, he looks at the other two officers. You're going to be getting the bunks. Real? Yeah. You know what? Fine. Fine. I'll take it. And Pakcha, you remember his name, steps forward and he says, "Come on, come on, Kenson. Let's just get our things on board." And and she goes, "Fine, fine. I'll move my bags, will ya?" "Sure." And you note again, he has 4 arms, so he grabs double the number of bags.
Yeah, Karak remembers them. He just, in typical Vulcan fashion, makes no mention of the fact that he knows who they are or any of that. It's not relevant, he believes. So, if Crack, if you'd like to do your sweep of, or your pre-flight check, I guess,
Yep, I'll get right on it, sir.
and then the lieutenant and I will perform a security sweep.
Okay. So he walks you up to this door here. And says, "Now, this door here will be this door here will be the delegates, or hang on. The sorry, this room will be the dignitaries."
Yeah, Karak, with his
For
arms clasped behind his back, just nods.
for security reasons, we've given him a passcode for the room. Um, the two of us also have a master passcode that should get us in. And he leans over and taps a few buttons on the keypad next to the terminal. Then turns to you and he hands you a data pad.
Oh, it's muted. I take it and take a look at it.
Yeah, it's an access code.
Okay.
And so walk in.
Yeah, and I'll do
And
a visual sweep and a scan
yeah,
also. Go ahead.
yeah. So for the purposes of this, give me insight security difficulty 2, and he will assist you.
Oh, good. You don't have any threat.
Oh, yes, I do.
I know.
I have 8 of it.
Oh, bummer. Um, I will buy a die with threat.
Okay. I'll take
Uh,
it.
do any of my focuses apply?
What are your focuses?
Probably not. Is this just like a visual scan
Yeah. This is or
or
I mean,
visual
you
sweep?
can.
I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say you can do a full on security sweep if you want. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I would use I guess I'll just use a tricorder, which I don't have a focus in, but I do in Starship sensors.
Hmm.
So there we go.
And then this guy is gonna roll his security.
I
Does
gotta
not
take.
have a focus.
I need to become a walking encyclopedia. Karak thinks to
So
himself.
so you get 2 momentum. I'll give it to Doll.
Okay.
So Doll shall be the keeper of the momentum for the night. And
I can do
yes,
that.
yeah. So for the sake of brevity, you do a thorough sweep of the shuttlecraft, and don't find anything wrong. You don't find any listening devices. You don't find any hidden weapons. You don't find any bombs.
Excellent. And yeah, I'll once I've completed it, I'll check back with Grak to make sure all of the flight systems are operational and the shuttle's in tip-top shape.
In that case, Grek, give me a reason con difficulty 2.
Okay, reason. Click. Oh boy. Do we have any momentum?
We have 2.
I will take one, please. Oh, okay.
Jesus.
Wow. Nice.
You're sitting at 5 momentum.
I'm so good at
Well
this game, you
done.
guys.
Jeez. Oh, hang on. Whoops.
Reason is next
Didn't
thing.
mean to, I think I gave you one too many.
Re-
I
reason is
had
not my
2.
thing.
I
Con is my
spent 1,
thing.
but I picked it back up, so I'll drop 1.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That should be correct.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is pretty. This is the good news is it's a very straightforward path. Like the only thing that's like even remotely in the way is there's a small stellar radiation field, like a couple light years away from a point on the projected path. But I mean, you're not even going to be going into it, A, and B, even if you were to go into it, it's radiation that's easily it's radiation easily dispersed by um the runabout's deflectors. The only
What?
thing is, if you were to have to go into that radiation field for any reason, it would totally screw with your sensors. You'd be
That's
flying blind.
that's what I was gonna ask. So our sensors wouldn't be able to penetrate the radiation field.
Right, but you're not even going in there.
How close are we traveling to it?
A couple light years, and I'll even let you know now. It's far enough away that like if something were to come out of it, you'd have some notice.
Okay. I
Like,
recommend that we
it's
keep an eye on that.
yeah, it's not like something could come out of it and then it would be right on you.
Right.
Like you'd have like if something were gonna come at you at warp, you'd have a good like 5 minutes head start.
So we'd have plenty of time for Crack to say, "Come at me, bro."
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll make a note of that so that I can keep an eye on it as we pass it. I also wanted to do a thorough check of everyone's records here aboard the ship, because Karak is nothing if not thorough.
Okay. Yeah. Give me that's gonna be insight security. Um. Insight security difficulty. 3.
Oh my. Well, in that case, I will buy a die with momentum. Actually, well, let's see. I'll buy a die with threat and then a second die with momentum.
So that's 2 momentum.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying to avoid giving you too much threat.
I'm taking that threat and spending 1. Your comp range goes up by.
Bummer. All right. Can I get an assist from the shuttle's computer?
Yes, the shuttle can assist with its computer's command.
Cool.
I don't have the stats for the shuttle for a Danube class runabout.
What?
So
Well, Grack, you want to roll that? Whatever he tells you to roll.
yeah, just roll a d20. I'll grab my book and tell you if you got it.
Ooh.
Oof.
Well, I get to re-roll one of those.
Oh. And
So
let's see about that shuttle, cause let me see about that shuttle, cause that might be a crit. If its command is above a 1, that'll crit.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Oh, nice.
He said give him 2 seconds. He'll be right back.
Yeah,
You rolled
it's
a 2. I see. That's good.
yeah, it's I gotta check the book to see if that's
Grack is Mr. Criticals today.
yeah, I gotta see if that's a crit.
Put him in charge of rolling everything.
No, that's not the book.
If Karak was a barbarian in Dungeons and Dragons, he'd be killing it right now.
RPGs, Modifius. Come on. Oh, there we go. Reporting for duty, home of the stars, starships. I think this is it. Oh no, that's not it. It's a bit further back. Almost got it. Oh, I just passed it. Danube class runabout. No, actually, it's got a command of 0, so that's just.
Oh. Oh well, we still got 4 out of 3.
Yeah. So, you get a momentum.
Hooray!
Yes. It would appear that everyone here has been quite well vetted.
Mm-hmm.
As you know the file of especially of Ensign Jensen quite well as Ensign Pakcha.
Yes.
Not quite as much on the lieutenant and the ensign, mind you, but that's because they're deep space Aegis and they have their own command structure for looking at records.
Yeah. Sorry, I was still laughing at Ensign Jensen.
Yeah, but the lieutenant's record appears immaculate. He's done good work, and the and Ensign Perez, he's vouched for by the lieutenant.
Very well. Regulation. Is he
Some
Bajoran?
experience an adventure like nothing you've ever experienced before. Journey to a world full of imagination, inspiration, and discovery.
All right.
Your
Well, if
destiny
everybody
awaits.
seems good,
Are
then
you ready? Welcome to the Milona
I'll
region,
make any preparations that need to be made here, and then I'll go.
featuring
to his
all
security
new
suite.
adventures, all new encounters,
Chambers.
and all new
Okay.
foes.
You go out to the
Join
conference
us
room. I
on
don't
the
have a
18th
map
for
for
an
it.
exclusive release of this
And I won't
amazing
even make you do the
Pixelmon
roll for it.
server.
It's secure. They've had station security doing
Early access members will receive
Oh
exclusive
yeah, I'm
benefits
sure,
and perks.
but Crack does it anyway because that's how he is.
Yep.
So what are you waiting for?
I'm
Join
not
today.
gonna make you roll
Let's
for
start
this.
your Pixelmon
You don't.
adventure.
You don't find anything.
Okay.
And eventually, the two enter the room.
Thank
First,
you.
first is kind of a big, burly guy,
That's right.
with a yellowish green skin and sort of these green, these darker green, like little platelet things around his head and at the back of his neck. I'll show you the picture of him. And coming in after him is a man of similar skin coloration, only his skin is more just regular green, and the little platelets on his head are a dark green.
What a handsome race.
Announcing the Serene Jahon. Ah, you must be my escort.
Indeed.
And you see he's carry by the by the you see this guy, Jahon, he's carrying a Starfleet issue briefcase. Like one of those carrying cases.
Okay.
In his other, so he has that in one hand. In his other hand, he has sort of a walking stick, of twisted metal.
Interesting. Does it look like a weapon?
I mean, it could probably be. It could definitely be used as one.
All right. Are we hosting a trade negotiation, or are we just transporting them?
You would know this based on the files and everything. The trade negotiations have been done. This guy has been talking with people from the diplomatic corps. He's been talking with admirals. He's been talking with all sorts of people over the past couple of weeks. And between them and his government, they have hammered out an agreement to trade for that material that I mentioned at the start. The thing is, he has to physically bring that agreement back to his home world for their president to.
Right. Okay, and which ones, what are these, who are these guys exactly? Like, which one's the diplomat?
This guy's the diplomat, Jahon.
Okay, and he's the one with the weird twisted metal walking stick?
Yeah.
And this guy has the briefcase?
No.
Oh, he has both. Okay,
Yeah, he has both. The briefcase in one hand, the walking stick in the other.
All right. I'll assume those are your documents.
Indeed. I must keep these rather safe.
Understood.
I was told you would have the access codes for me to enter my room aboard your transport.
I do, and I'll hand him a data pad.
Very good.
Shall we be
he
underway?
just a moment. He turns to the side, sets down the briefcase on the ground. Looks at the pad for a few seconds, taps a couple buttons, and then hands it back to you. Thank you. And then he picks up the briefcase again.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say while he's doing that, can I scan his briefcase with my tricorder to make sure it doesn't have any security issues?
Okay. Give
Like I don't.
me insight security huh? Give me
Yeah.
insight security difficulty 2.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't trying to like get any kind of info on his documents or anything. I'm just trying to make sure there's not any weapons or energy signatures or anything that would be concerning. You said diff 1?
Mhm.
Okay.
Diff 2.
Diff 2. I'll buy a die with threat then. And I'll go
Okay,
fishing.
I'll take it. Okay, you generate a momentum. Yeah, you're not detecting any dangerous signatures from it, but you're not detecting much in general. But that's because this, you can tell from your readings, this is a specific type of case that's designed to um protect delicate documents.
All right. Is it
Because if you had a case where if you had a thing where you had extremely sensitive documents and you could just read them by scanning through the case, it wouldn't do you much good. So they make specialized cases.
Based on the files that I've read, are there any sort of you know, socio related issues for me to ask to see the content? Meaning, like, are they do they have any kind of like does their species have any sort of you know uh noted abhorrence to people looking through their stuff?
You could spend a momentum for
Okay,
that answer.
sure.
No, but you would know this. It would be bad form for you to ask.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Because
then he'll.
he's a diplomat doing his job, and it's like you're his escort, and you're coming up and saying, "Let me see the document."
Well, I
Like,
just wanted to make sure you didn't have a weapon in there or something. But that's because I've I'm under Captain Holloway's command, so I'll have to be
yeah,
ever vigilant.
yeah.
All right. Well,
Oh
then
no,
I'll let
totally.
it I'll let it slide, but I'll make a mental note to keep an eye on him because I haven't had a chance to look at his case.
Well, shall we be off?
Yes.
I
Please
am
follow us.
I'm looking forward to once again seeing the serene pink skies of Helmod.
How long will it take us to get there?
Drac. Reason Con difficulty 1.
Oh, okay. Hey, why not? I'll take a little momentum. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Well, do you get to re-roll that 0? Do you have
I have nothing like that now.
Oh.
I will take the 2 threat.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we could quash it, but that's fine.
And so, presumably, you carefully lead them to the shuttle bay.
Well, I was gonna say my response to his eloquent statement that he can't wait to see the pink skies or whatever is Karak just says we shall arrive in whatever
Oh,
time
yes,
frame.
sorry. You reckon it will take a little under 2 standard days.
Okay. And I say we shall arrive within 2 standard days, and then I escort them to the runabout.
Okay. do. Then you see the ensign sort of come up and take up a terminal position.
Yeah.
The lieutenant comes forward, says, "Ah, Jahon, if you would follow me, I'll lead you to your room." Very good. And the two of them go off towards the back.
Yeah, I'll go with them just to make sure they get situated properly,
Okay.
supervised. And
You-
then I was gonna ask if there's like a security station or just a co-pilot seat where I could do my security stuff.
Yep. And the lieutenant leans over to the room, taps in the code. "Your room, sir." And Jahon nods and he walks in. "And yours." And he reaches over, taps in his code, and this guy enters his room.
Once they're all tucked in, I'll give the lieutenant a nod, then I'll head back up to the front of the ship. So, am I here or here for security type stuff?
You will be here. Although, as you take your seat, the lieutenant says, "You know, you want, Perez and I would be willing to take up the first shift if you, want to speak with your new officers."
Oh, we've spoken.
"Very well."
There's
And,
a play right out of the Captain Holloway playbook there.
oh?
That's what he did with the new crew. Well, I mean, is it like standard procedure that I would like interview them or something, or?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Well, short and to the point, I guess. Well, looks like, and he taps a few buttons, looks like we're just about clear. Could you go through the final departure checklist? Aye, sir. And with that, Grack, if you wouldn't mind, and Perez will be more than willing to assist, give a control con diff 2 to handle your departure from Shuttle Bay.
Sure. I will use a momentum because why not?
He will also throw an assist die. That's also a hit, so that's 4 momentum. You're at full. Goody. As you slowly pull out of space dock, Pakcha looks at you and says, "I'm going back to check on Ensign Kenson."
Okay, sure, that sounds fine.
And you see the door open behind him, and you see through the door he walks past the he walks around past the emergency transporter pad. Then once he passes by that open doorway, you can't see where he went.
Yeah, I assume at some point during the next 2 days of travel, I'll interact with them.
Yeah.
but yeah, Crack's like kind of aloof and laconic.
Yep. Yep. And so I just need Grack to make one more control con check. Difficulty of 2, assisted by the shuttle's engines con,
Okay,
to go to
I'll
warp.
use. Okay, I'll
Did
use
you
another momentum.
did you pick up a bold con?
I did not. I haven't had a
Oh,
chance to
okay.
change my feats at all.
Oh, I thought you did that last time. I thought you had a spotlight or something. Sorry, that's what
That
I
was the
was
captain.
wondering. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And the shuttle also succeeds. So that is 2 momentum.
Nice.
And kill this as the USS Thames jumps to warp. We will now change scenes. You go down a momentum, so you're at 5 momentum again.
Just trying to drain this momentum. I see how it is.
Hang on, not Holloway. It is Dahl, and Karak is not there. Dahl, you have the center console. You have the center chair.
Okay.
Smells strangely loggable in 16.
It probably does. But I'm used to that smell by now.
And I'd say also at this point, for the purpose of having people in the scene, Korn, you're up on the bridge doing some terminal maintenance.
Yep. My legs are sticking out underneath the terminal as I'm working.
Still going swish wash.
Yeah. So currently you are hovering above the not pictured on any maps I have prepared, a rather pink-skied world of Helmut 3.
Lovely.
Currently, Captain Holloway is on the planet's surface having a protracted meeting with their president.
Fair enough. Well, just holding down the fort then.
Commander, we are receiving a hail from the planet's surface.
On screen?
Here we go. Is this the USS Ganymede, Federation starship?
This is Commander Dahl, USS Ganymede, yes? How may we
Yes.
assist?
Perfect. I am Alea. I am President Kanathway's secretary.
A pleasure. What's on your mind?
I was instructed that I check in with you and make myself available to you should you need any assistance from the president's office or any associated departments.
Absolutely. I will keep that in mind. Currently nothing that I can think of right offhand. Is there any way we may be of assistance?
Nothing comes to mind currently, although at some point I think I would like to see that ship of yours. I've never had an opportunity to be off world. I'm sorry, that was
Oh,
unprofessional of me.
it's all great. I'm sure we'd be more than happy to have you aboard as long as your superior officers approve.
Right. Well, I would ask my boss, but Currently, I believe he's talking the ear off your captain.
Dahl chuckles. Likely so. Well, as long as there's no restrictions, I have no issues with you being a guest here.
Thank you. I'll see if there's any spare time in my schedule, and I'll let you know.
She nods. We'll be here.
And she cuts.
Ah, it's so cute. I know Dahl doesn't say that out loud. That's just what Dahl's thinking.
Meanwhile, Korn calls down to engineering and says, "Can someone please bring up a isolinic induction coil?"
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank
and
you.
After a couple of minutes, Lerod wobbles onto the bridge.
Do you have that induction coil, Rod? He just holds his hand out.
Yes.
Thank you. How's engineering going down there?
Good. I'm doing my best to keep a handle on all the stock.
Good. Well, best not keep the team waiting, and I'll be finished here in just a few moments. Come on. He's like struggling to like slot something in. Click. There we go. He slides out and pushes a couple buttons, and the panel comes back to life.
I can never understand how you and your big paws manage to get anything done around here. And he walks off towards the turbo lift.
Korn just looks down at his paws and just kind of smirks. Well, at least they're good for something. He mutters to himself and then takes up at his station and continues working on monitoring engineering and stuff like that until he's further needed.
Very good. And with that, we will cut back to the shuttlecraft. Currently at a few hours into your travels, Grak, you're looking at your terminal, and you are currently passing at your closest point to that aforementioned radiation field.
Oh boy, so I would rather not go through that.
We're not going through it.
No, it's not. It's not on the the course. It's something that's on the map as like, this is a thing that exists. You're not gonna go through it, but know it's there.
It was more of a Karak was like telling you to keep an eye out and let him know when we arrive or when we get close to it, so he can keep an eye out on it and all that stuff, because he's super OCD about security.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You want to, Greg?
Yeah, I don't know what you need me to do. Like, we're flying, right?
So you want to just take like a close look at sensors, see if you're picking anything up?
Yeah, if he relays the info to me, which I'll assume he does.
Yeah, we're approaching where we're not supposed to approach. The radiation.
Yeah, give me a reason science. Reason science difficulty 4, assisted by the runabouts.
I don't even know why I'm gonna bother rolling that. Difficulty 4? No.
Sensors science.
There you go. That's
what,
literally my worst stat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is he scanning for?
And it actually doesn't matter. To see if there's anything there, to keep an eye on presumably the periphery of the radiation field.
Yeah, I was gonna make a security scan just to make sure there's no vessels that can be detected.
You can do that. That'll be that will be reason. That'll be reason security. Difficulty of 3, assisted by the shuttle's sensor security.
Okay. Div 3.
Yeah.
I'll buy a die with threat and then a second die with momentum. So 2
Okay.
momentum.
Take that and one more. I'm increasing your comp range.
Oh. Okay. I'll go fishing. Womp womp.
Okay. That
Do you want to
is
roll
2 momentum.
Do you want to roll the ship, Greg?
Oh yeah, sure. Or
Sure.
yeah,
What's
Greg,
what's?
it's a
roll
D20. It's a D20. You do have an
Okay.
increased comp range though.
Oh,
Oh no,
okay.
that
Whatever.
hits. That hits the increased comp range.
We'll quash it.
2 momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just the 2 momentum that you. No, but that's the 2 momentum you generated.
Right.
So you're good. You're back where
3.
you started. Very good. Doesn't look like there's anything there.
Sensors negative at this time.
Good.
I've just been waiting for like months to say that. Not really.
Good. Well, I think it's about the end of our shift, Perez. Let's get some rest. Hi, sir. He gets up and the 2 of them head off into the back. And now it's just the 2 of you.
How long has it been? A few hours?
Yeah.
I guess I could Nah, if it's only been a few hours, it's fine. Yeah, I'll just sit here and keep an eye on the sensors. And so once we're sufficiently past the radiation field, then I'll walk around the shuttle and make sure everybody's, you know,
Okay.
settled in.
Yeah, very good. So who are you gonna stop in on first?
What's the different? What's this guy? Like, this guy's the delegate. What's this guy? He's his assistant.
Yeah.
I guess I'll check with the assistant first.
Press the button and he comes to the door and you hear a thud, thud, thud tapping and the door swishes open.
Greetings. Have you settled in?
Yes, I would say I've settled in nicely.
Everything to your liking?
As best as it can be.
Very good. Was he about to say something? Did I cut him off? I didn't mean to.
No?
Okay.
He seems like a quiet sort.
I like him already. Well, then, if that is all, then I'll bid him farewell and shut the door and check on his the delegate.
Press the button, and here, and the door opens. Ah, Lieutenant Commander, how can I be of assistance?
I have come to verify that you have settled in and everything is to your liking.
Indeed. I did not have to bring much with me. After all, it is only a single overnight journey. I have had longer.
Indeed. A short trip.
Our the Halmodian ship design is not nearly as fast as yours. It took my personal transport nearly a month to reach your deep space Aegis.
Oh, what type of warp speed functionality do you have?
We travel, I believe the equivalent is warp 7.
That is still impressive. He'll like start discussing engineering in one of those type of situations where it's like, oh, did you not want to talk about engineering?
Yeah. Eventually, you realize that he's just kind of being polite.
Exactly.
Because he's a diplomat and he has to be polite.
Yeah. Once I'm able to take the hint, then I, bid him good evening or whatever and move on.
Who
Oh,
are you going to check in with next?
my apologies. Please return to whatever you were doing. Good evening.
And the door closes.
I guess I'll leave these two alone because they just got off a shift, and then I'll come in here and like make a tea or something.
Ah, Lieutenant Commander. It's nice to see you again.
Greetings.
It's been a few months.
Indeed, it has been. I'll give him an exact day count.
Yeah. It has been 5 months, 3 days, 27 20 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And you see Pakcha's like chitin bristle a little. Impressive. What a wonderful recollection.
Croc just raises an eyebrow.
He's a Vulcan, Pakcha. You met them at the academy. We worked under a Vulcan. Why are you surprised by this?
He just walks over to wherever the replicator is and starts making a tea.
And wait, I have the sound effect.
Oh,
I have the power.
it's legit. While he's replicating that, he'll ask, well, do I know, like, did they request a transfer to the Ganymede, or was the transfer requested by Holloway?
I believe Holloway requested the transfer, and I mean it's one of those things that you do have a little. When you're an ensign, you don't have much leeway in where you get reassigned. But
Yeah.
Based on your recollection, again, at the very least, Ensign Kenson was looking to get off that dust ball and that jungle anyway, and get to a starship. So
Yeah. Karak will sit down and say, you must be very pleased to be assigned to the Ganymede.
yeah, a Luna class. That's. I didn't think I'd be that lucky. I thought I might get stuck on. I mean, I would have been satisfied with an Excelsior or, heck, even an Oberth.
Yes, the Ganymede is a remarkable ship. And he sips his tea.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to working in your engineering department. What's it like?
It meets all Starfleet regulations.
Oh, no need to be coy. What's it really like? Come on.
He just raises an eyebrow.
I've been around enough Starfleet engineers to know the kind of shenanigans that we get up to. What's your engineering department really like?
I can assure you there are no shenanigans aboard the Ganymede.
Paksha looks across to her and says, "Perhaps you're not using the right terminology. She's asking whether or not there is any horseplay, tomfoolery, I believe the human expression is."
I see. Ooh.
Blink, blink.
We operate efficiently aboard the Ganymede. And he just stares back, unblinking at them.
They both look like they were expecting more out of that answer.
Why is it so much fun to RP a laconic guy like this? I don't know. And the same will be expected of the both of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll stand up. Well, if that is all. And if they don't say anything, he strolls out.
God. And the moment the door closes, the two of them look at each other, and she just goes, "What the hell was that?"
That guy's a jerk. We have to serve with that guy?
Mm-hmm. And so a couple more hours pass, and shortly after, the door opens behind you, and Kenson walks in. Would you mind? I'd be willing to take up operations.
She talking to me?
Yeah.
Very well. Please keep me appraised of any situations that may arise. Apprised.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Where are you gonna head to?
There's not too many places to head to, I guess. So I'll go back here and maybe I'll take a break and meditate or something.
You're in the middle of a meditation, and by the by, the shift changes back over. And it's actually sort of just as the shift is now starting to change back over. So it's not quite the start of the shift. I should clarify, it's not quite the start of the shift yet. And so the lieutenant actually comes in back here, and he's making himself like his morning's coffee. When you hear a chime from your comm badge.
This is correct.
Commander, this is Ensign Kenson.
Proceed.
I'm currently currently outside the I'm currently outside Delegate Jahone's room. He sent a room request. But I can't get in, and he's not responding.
I'm on my way. Okay, so this guy?
Yeah, this room.
I'll chime the door again. To verify that there's no response.
Yeah, and you don't hear a response.
I'll tell her to step aside so that I can input the code.
Yes, sir. She steps back.
Yeah. I'll
like
doesn't matter. I'll input the code, but I'll do it in a way, where I'm blocking it so she can't see what I'm inputting.
yeah. I got ya. Hang on. You press in the code, and the door opens, and this room is a mess. And it looks like things have been thrown about. Things are like the sheets are all disheveled. The any drapes that were hanging up have been pulled down. And lying right in the middle of the room is Jahon, with a knife sticking out of his back.
Gee willikers, it's a murder mystery, Scoob.
And
I'll
what is it, Commander? What is
yeah, so I'll say get the lieutenant and or what was this guy's name? Lieutenant
Morsi. It doesn't even take that long, because at that moment, coming running out of his room is Ensign Perez, and not far behind him is Morsi.
Yeah, I'll try to do a first aid on this guy, see if I can, if he has any life signs, or if I can help him in any way, or if he's like dead.
Give me an insight medicine difficulty 1.
Difficulty what?
1.
Oh, okay.
And meanwhile, Ensign Kenson says, yeah, I'm gonna go tell Lieutenant. And she sort of staggers this way. You get 2 momentum. He's dead.
Tactical alert. Vessel approaching, bearing 184, Mark 7.
I will stand up and look around the room. Any I mean, obviously signs of a struggle, but I mean, is there any anything that stands out, like bloody handprints or anything like that?
Before you can get a good look at the room, mind you, Perez and Morsi round the corner and see it and go, what happened? We heard a script. Oh God, no!
Lieutenant, please take your crew to the back and remain there.
Yes, sir. Perez with me. And as he gets towards this back way with Perez, the door opens and Pop just says, What is it? What's happening? I heard the ensign script. No, you stay in here. I'll explain. And the door closes.
I'm gonna calm Grack and
so
say...
actually at this point, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Ensign Kenson comes running up to you, Grack. Lieutenant.
Yes, Ensign?
Something's happened. The diplomat, I don't know. There was blood everywhere, and she's like hyperventilating.
Okay, well, you calm down, Lieutenant. What's going on?
Well, you know how I got that chime from from his room. Well, I went to go check on him, and I couldn't open the door, so and he wouldn't respond. So I called for the commander, and he opened the door, and oh god.
You're gonna do you not have you not seen anything bad before?
That's
Like
Crack's
this
response.
this is Starfleet. You got to pull yourself together.
Give me a presence command difficulty 2. You're trying to calm a girl who has just seen her first dead body.
Ugh.
Calm down. Calm down. That man's dead. And oh god, there was a knife in his back, and oh god, and oh god, and he was a diplomat, and oh, this is bad. This is very really bad. And she sort of crumbles
Correct,
over to
Ensign.
the chair.
Ensign.
She
You need to
goes over
focus.
to-
For one,
she,
you're
she
talking to
goes-
me. I'm the pilot,
She goes over
and
to the
you're
chair.
not talking to our security chief, who was the one in charge of this mission.
Hang on, she sinks to the chair and she just says, "Oh, I should have stayed in the jungle. I should have just stayed in the jungle."
If that's the kind of life you want with no adventure and excitement, then yes, you should have stayed in the jungle. But again, this is Starfleet, and sometimes bad things happen. So let's try to figure this out. I'll tap my my comm badge and get the lieutenant commander on the line.
Yeah, so you were just about to leave the room, Lieutenant Commander, when your combat chirps.
Crack here.
I've got a hyperventilating ensign in my cockpit.
Yes, there's been an
I-
incident. Please send her to the back.
Will do. Ensign, you heard them, man.
Oh, all right.
I'll be out here with the door shut.
And yeah, you watch Ensign Kenson just walk down the corridor and into the back.
I'm gonna lock the door, and then I'm gonna chime this guy and check on him and see if he's still alive.
Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Tap, tap, tap. Door opens. Commander, is everything all right? I heard noises.
There has been an incident. Perhaps you'll allow me to scan you in your room to ensure your safety.
Very well. What has happened? Is Jahon all right?
No, Jahon is dead. He says with
His-
a very deadpan, no
his-
bedside
his-
manner.
His eyes go wide.
And then I
Ted?
begin scanning him.
Give me insight security difficulty 2.
Yes, he has been murdered.
Yes, he's been murdered.
It appears as though he has been murdered. Okay, diff 2, you said?
Yeah.
I'll buy a die with threat. And I'll go fishing.
Fishy. He this was what are you trying to determine here?
I'm looking for any injuries or blood or anything foreign on him that might indicate that he was involved in this.
You don't see anything like that.
Okay. Then I'll ask him if he's left his quarters in the last however many hours it's been since I knew that guy was okay.
No, I've not left my quarters once. I'm sorry. I must begin making preparations. And he closes the door.
Yeah, I'll tell him as he's doing that for his safety, I recommend that he stay in his quarters.
I guess while he's doing, I'll know what he wants, so I'll start pulling up security logs of who was in and out of the rooms, all that stuff, all the internal sensors,
Yeah,
just to have them ready for him when he comes back.
cool. Yeah, I'll tell Grack that I've secured the assistant in his chambers or in his room, and the rest of the crew in the back, and I will be conducting an investigation. Please contact the Ganymede and apprise them of the situation.
Will do. I'll set that up as like an encrypted communication for Commander Dahl.
Okay. Give me control engineering difficulty of I'm gonna say difficulty 3, assisted by the shuttle's communications security.
Okay, I will spend 3 momentum to buy 2 dice because I'm probably gonna need it.
Okay.
And then there we go.
That's a hit. So that's 4 successes. Very good. Meanwhile, on the other end, I'm going to need Korn, who's at his terminal bridge,
Yep.
to give me another control engineering check.
Control engineering.
Huh?
Control engineering difficulty. Go ahead.
Difficulty of 3, assisted by the Ganymede's communications security.
All right. Linguistics would come into play, right?
No,
Okay.
this is decryption.
Okay. So no focuses. Darn. All right. I'm gonna buy a die with momentum, and then an extra die with threat. So that's gonna be 3. All right. And what are people saying? Okay. Okay. And just making sure. Okay, yep. And is anyone assisting me with this, or is it just the ship?
Just the ship.
Got it. Who's going to be rolling for the ship?
Yeah, Dahl, would you mind rolling for the Ganymede's communications security?
She might not be able to hear. She was oh, never mind.
There we go. You hit the difficulty. Korn, you're
Yes.
receiving an encrypted communication.
Captain, Commander, there's a incoming communication. It's encrypted. Shall I send it to your chair?
Please.
Sending now. Click, click, click.
Correct.
Oh, you're
So
encrypted
when
message.
you mean on the
Oh,
Yeah.
the crypto says diplomat dead. Investigating. Lieutenant Commander Crack in charge. Very short and to the point.
It's
Diplomat
just
dead.
Just a text message.
Yeah, I just had Grack inform the Ganymede of our current situation.
Do I need to apprise anyone of this situation?
Reason command difficulty 1.
I'm asking as a player. I am exhausted. I know I need to tell somebody, but that's a no-brainer. I just
Yeah.
who should I be
Uh,
informing?
well, there is that assistant who effectively told you that she's at your disposal.
Okay. Probably good to at least inform her and ask her, besides ongoing investigation, which I'm sure is underway, what we can do. As soon as we know, they should know, right?
Hmm. So, pops up on the screen. Ah, Commander, I'm not quite ready to come up for my trip. To come up for my visit. Can I be of assistance?
I wish there were better circumstances. It appears there has been an emergency and there is an ongoing investigation. What is going on? But I just received news that the diplomat that was en route with us has been killed. I am not sure if it was murder or an accident or what is going on, but my crew will keep me apprised of the situation.
You see all of the color drain from her face.
I thought you should be the first to know before of this. I mean, I'm not sure what to say. Is everything all
I
right, though? I mean, besides the obvious? Is there
uh
anything we can do?
no. I I have to tell the president.
We'll be on standby with any more news. Meanwhile, anything we can do, please let us know.
Okay, yeah. I have to go. And she presses a button and she just Meanwhile, scene change. As we are now back aboard the shuttlecraft as the investigation begins.
Hmm. Well, I wanted to start with uh, interviewing these crew members and taking scans of them, like I did this guy, to determine if they have any sort of telltale signs of foul play.
Okay, I mean, what are you looking for specifically?
In the scan,
Yeah.
like I was saying, like abrasions, any signs of struggle, or like uniform disarray, or blood spatter, any of that kind of stuff that might show up on a security scan or visual uh, scan.
Okay. Um, for each person, it would be a uh, for each person it'll be insight security difficulty 2.
Okay. I really need a focus for a hand scanner, unless I can use the ship's scanners.
No. Nice try.
It was worth the shot. Um, I don't suppose composure would apply, would it, to in order to keep calm and keep everyone calm while I'm investigating?
No.
Oh well, it was worth the shot. I'll buy a debit threat.
Okay, I'll take it.
I'll just
Sweet.
go clockwise, I
Who's
guess.
so you're starting with Jensen?
Yeah, I'll just go from left to right. Do you want me to just make the rolls and you tell me, or make a roll, then you tell me, then I make the next roll?
Hold on. Ooh. Hang on a sec.
Sure.
I have to take my threat. The ensign doesn't seem to show any signs that he's been in a struggle. You're not detecting blood.
Okay. So there's nothing obvious to show that he's had any kind of altercation or anything.
Yeah, no.
All right. Then when I did my medicine check, could I tell how long this guy had been dead? You said he was cold.
No. That was just your preliminary, like, that was you saying, hey, I want to try performing first aid on him. Like,
Okay.
So I gave you a simple insight medicine check of difficulty 1 to just let you know, nah, he did.
Does this ship have an emergency medical hologram?
No.
Dang it.
Do the individual rooms, do they have food replicators in them?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna spend 2 threat. They don't.
Okay.
The replicators are in this little common area here.
Okay. Well, I'm just scanning them all first, and then I'll send them to their quarters. So once I've scanned that guy, I'll just send them to here. And then I'll proceed with the next one.
Good. Excuse me. He starts tapping at his door. And he actually comes back in here. Excuse me. Lieutenant? Could you, give me a hand? Door seems to be acting up again. Yeah, give me a sec.
I'm just gonna watch. I'm curious what they're doing.
And you watch the lieutenant. He punches his key code into the door. Door opens, and he steps in. And then
Okay.
he returns.
Alright. I guess I'll scan him next. I'll buy another day with threat.
Alright. Same thing.
Okay.
Take it
Lieutenant,
with threat.
if you wouldn't mind returning to your quarters and staying put for the time being.
Yeah, I know. But,
I'm sure you'll understand we must perform an
right.
investigation.
Yeah. But, I do want to make sure you know, once we arrive and you return back to, your ship, this is a Starbase Aegis vessel, which means I'm going to be taking over the investigation once we get there. So, keep me in the loop, will ya?
Karak just kind of gives him a look and tilts his head a little bit and raises an eyebrow. And kind of extends a hand towards his quarters. As like a.
Yeah.
Please
And
proceed.
he taps his code, and he enters.
All right, and then I guess I'll scan this guy. I'm more threat.
Yep. Right?
Yeah. Are we getting momentum for these?
Yep.
Cool.
I think you should be at full at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think so.
Yeah, same thing with Pakcha.
Okay, well then I'll ask him
I've
to.
been back here the whole time. This is easily the most roomy place in the ship, so I haven't really seen much of reason to go anywhere else. Besides, this is where I'm bunking.
Karak just ignores him and scans the ensign. I mean,
I'm
he
not
he listens to what he's saying, but he doesn't respond.
For this one, I'm not even gonna make you roll because Ensign Kenson isn't like she's just laying there, like just looking up at the ceiling. Same thing with her. Although you do note, based on the scans, adrenaline levels are through the roof.
I'll attempt to calm her down, like by saying, your adrenaline levels are heightened.
You think?
Is that calming? Does that help?
No.
No. Please. The investigation is underway. There is nothing to be concerned about.
God, he was dead. Right there, and he was dead.
Yes.
Stood right next to him, and now he's dead.
Yes, I'm aware. That's a sweet Vulcan bedside manner. It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna spend 2 threat. You can give me a presence command difficulty 3 check because you're not good at this.
All right.
Your composure focus actually helps though.
All right. So difficulty 3.
Yep.
I'll buy a die with threat and then another die with momentum. So 2 momentum.
Okey-doke. All right. I guess if you can be stone-faced after all this, I can do it too.
It is illogical to let your emotions dictate your actions in a time of stress.
That might be the most reassuring thing you've said all day.
And where were you? Actually, how would I determine how long he's been dead? Would that just be a more intense medical scan or something?
Yes. You'd have to scan him.
Can the shuttle do that? Like if I were to ask the computer?
No, you don't have a med bay.
Oh, okay. What's this guy do? He's like a medical, or is he
He's science.
science?
In fact, I can give me a moment. I'll pull up his stats. They're in a totally different adventure. I think it's the prize.
I'll ask the ensign to remain here, and I'll escort this guy up front, and have Crack keep an eye on him. He can take the ops position.
Okay. I'll be right back. Just give me like a couple minutes.
Okay.
Don't beam away. Star Trek Ganymede will return in just a moment.
happened.
Okay.
That, then I'll interview the witnesses,
Yep.
or
So
not witnesses, but suspects.
so you can give me a insight medicine difficulty of 2.
Okay. Would first aid apply or no?
No. This is a preliminary medical exam. This is a preliminary autopsy, effectively, just with a scanner.
Yeah, I'll buy a die with momentum. Ooh. I'm precise to a fault. Could I use that value to reroll?
So I will let this succeed at cost.
Oh, okay. What's
you
the
would like.
cost?
The cost is that the time of death will be a little bit more vague.
Maybe I can reroll though first.
Do you want to spend your determination?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hooray.
Still not enough.
Oh, I thought it was diff 2 for some reason. Oh well. I'll succeed at cost at the
Wait, was it?
stance.
Did I say diff 2?
Yeah, that's why I only had 3 dice.
Yeah, I think I did say diff 2 now that I think about it. Okay. Yeah. So, the based on the state of rigor mortis that this body is currently in, combined with what you know of this species, you compare it to some medical records that you do have of Halmodians. You reckon he has probably been dead for about 40 minutes.
Okay.
And keep in mind, just for timekeeping's sake, you all discovered the body half an hour.
Half an hour ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna look at the knife and see if there's any kind of a DNA or biological evidence on the weapon itself.
Give me to examine the knife. Give me insight security difficulty 3.
All right, I'll buy a die with threat.
Okay, I'll take that. That's 2 momentum.
Cool.
Oh no, sorry, 1 momentum.
Less cool, but still cool.
Yeah. There are there's only one set of fingerprints on this knife. They don't appear to be in a specific gripping motion. They don't appear to be in a tight hand grip around it. Just scattered fingerprints. They match that of the victim. But there are also assorted marks where it would appear a couple of those prints have been wiped away by something.
All right. Do these guys have any sort of alien physiology that allows them to stab themselves in the back?
I won't even make you ask a question. I won't even make you spend a momentum for that.
Yeah.
They don't have any weird
All right.
They don't have any weird quadruple jointed things. By the by, feel free to give me a reason security difficulty 2 check to just realize something about this whole situation.
Well, I was about to ask if the attaché case is still here, like his documents. Is it in the room?
The attaché case is open and it is empty.
Is that what you wanted me to roll for?
No.
Okay, then I'll roll reason security.
Yep.
What's the diff?
Diff 2.
Any of my focuses apply?
I'm gonna
Probably
say
not. I will buy a die with threat because you could never have too much of that. I think.
no. Okay. That is
What? Have,
okay.
hey, doll, have you been keeping track of the momentum?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So you're at 4.
Unless you
Yeah.
earned momentum. If I didn't hear you gain momentum, I don't know if you gained momentum.
Oh, okay.
But I hear it's
Yeah.
pending.
Yeah.
How much momentum have we added?
You've got
None for your rolls.
Grinning.
you got one. You got one more
Okay.
for that because it was diff 2. As you walk around the room, you realize something based on the way that this trip was set up, what with the security codes and everything.
Only one
Um,
person other than me has access to this room.
and so outside of that, this is a locked room.
Yeah. But this is the 24th century, so that never stops anybody.
Yeah. Oh my god, it reminds me. There's this great comic that's like parody superhero stuff, and there's a comic where like Super Poirot is solving a mystery, a locked room mystery. And he's like, I have figured out who did it, and one of them's like, yeah, well, she can teleport through walls. Yeah, well, you can walk through walls. Guys, quiet. It was the chef. The chef poisoned the cake. Like, jeez, like you superheroes, like like you superheroes, like locked room murders aren't the same anymore.
Yeah, exactly. They have phasing devices in Star Trek and transporters and all kinds of stuff, and
Yeah,
you can just
freaking
pick locks with your.
yeah.
You can just
I was gonna say the freaking murder mystery with the transporter rifle.
Yeah, it might be Q. Q did it, I bet.
It was cute in it. Plot twist.
Plot
Oh
twist,
God, not again.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, I thought that immediately that the prime suspect would be the other guy who had the code, but I'm not ruling anything out, which is why I'm doing investigating
Right.
stuff before I'm and start interrogating people. So the document or the briefcase is empty.
Mm-hmm.
Can I take some scans of the interior of the case to see if I can get any kind of trace material signatures so that I can scan for those aboard the ship?
Okay. Uh, Go ahead and give me another insight security check diff 2.
Okay. More threat coming your way.
Yay.
And one more
You
momentum.
gain another momentum. There appears to be an impression in the case that matches up with the handle of the knife.
Fascinating. I will check the case for fingerprints and or DNA or any kind of biological contaminants.
Take a that'll be a momentum.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, the only uh, the only fingerprints in this case belong to the victim. Although I will again note there are a few places where the prints appear to be slightly wiped.
Is it possible to, you know, try to gather like a biological data, even though the fingerprints have been wiped away, to like get any sort of like DNA or any kind of stuff like that off of the swiped area?
So I will spend 2 threat to
Yay.
let you know. So this is actually sort of me giving you some information as well, though.
Okay.
You won't be able to read these prints. I mean, the oils in them, I suppose you could say they match the victim, but some of the prints themselves appear to have been wiped away, probably because of someone else handling the case while wearing gloves.
Oh, okay. I'll look around the room for gloves and I'm gonna check for the signs of struggle. I'm trying to rule out that he's tried to like commit suicide and foil a treaty or trade agreement or something on his own.
Yeah.
I'm ruling him out as a suspect before I
Yeah.
move on to the next person.
Yeah. So you do not see a pair of gloves. He's not wearing gloves. He is bare hands. Give me another insight security check, difficulty 2.
All right, more threat.
Yay. Take 1.
Get our momentum back.
Okie doke. And then
How much momentum did you spend?
We're back
none
to 5.
gave me threat.
Okay.
So you're at 5. So based on you work out that there was a bit of a struggle in this room. Someone came at him first, probably tried to defend himself. You figure he tried to defend himself with that twisted iron staff currently lying in the corner of the room.
Okay. Well, then I will check the staff. If he defended himself with it, maybe there's some sort of a trace DNA or biological evidence on the weapon or the staff.
Okay. Give me insight security difficulty of 3.
Okay. I'll buy a die with threat and then a second die with momentum.
So that's 2 momentum.
Ah.
Oh
Crikey. Hold on.
Oof.
Let's see. I have 1 saved milestone, so I'm gonna spend that to
no. What's it for?
to get another determination so that I
No,
can
no, no.
reroll.
What's the what was the
Oh.
milestone for?
Oh yeah.
Because it has to be.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. It was crap. I don't have it noted, but I remember it was the only time I ever spent determination was to use precise to a fault to reroll. And
Do you
I think
remember
it was.
Do you know what the situation was?
It was like 2 sessions ago. And I was doing I think I was doing a scan, but it was on the starship, on the Ganymede systems. Like I was scanning for an enemy vessel. I think it was 2 sessions ago.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay.
So you can reroll 2. What value?
Insatiable curiosity.
Yeah, I'll take that. Okay, that's a hit.
Cool.
So, spending 2 threat. Unfortunately, again, no biological material on this. It seems quite likely then that even though this guy tried to defend himself, it seems that he didn't get a single hit on his attacker. Otherwise, you'd expect some of the attacker's skin cells or something to be on it at the very least. But no, nothing like that. However, it does appear to be hollow.
I'll look for a method to open it up and see if there's something inside.
Give me a control engineering check, difficulty 1. complication range of 3.
3. All right, I'll buy a die with momentum.
Oh my goodness.
That's hilarious. Something
don't
bad's
know.
gonna happen. There's nothing I can do to stop that, so I'll quash one of them.
Okay.
Does it matter if I quash one of them? Is double bad crit worse than a regular complication?
Hang on.
Now,
Just
bear
wait
in
till
mind, I was just looking to see if I can open it.
It just
Just
means
snap
that
it off.
it just means that I am going to roll a couple fewer challenge dice. You take 1 stress.
Okay.
As snap, basically like a mousetrap-like mechanism slices at your hand as you try to fiddle the mechanism.
Oh. Pain detected.
Oh,
Mental note to self. Next time when opening a crazy bladed staff, scan it first.
fortunately, because you quashed one of those complications, you do manage to keep your blood from getting from contaminating the crime scene.
That's good.
Because if you had let both of those stand,
Could have been bad.
your blood would have wound up on the crime scene.
I'll bandage that quickly so that it doesn't contaminate the scene.
Meanwhile, up with Grack, what are you up to?
Was trying to pull basically the logs where people were at the time. Maybe we can see where people was. Maybe I'm sure the person is too smart to have gotten caught on the logs, but just on the off chance that they weren't, basically where everyone was. I mean, everyone. I assume everyone had a comm badge.
So, give me reason security, difficulty of 3, assisted by the runabout's computer's security. And this will succeed at cost.
I will give you a threat to buy a die.
Sweet.
Why not?
And I will spend it and 1 more to increase your comp range by 1. As this runabout seems to be working on a slightly older operating version of LCARs. Like this is a version that dates back to slightly before the Dominion War.
Amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, Deep Space Aegis needed to gather up a lot of shuttles and runabouts real quick, so they took what they could get, which included a lot of mothballed runabouts from the Dominion War. I think that's not enough. Oh wait, no, the shuttle helps. So you hit it. Elcar's Millennium Edition. So. Okay. I'm spending 2 threat again to create a complication, but I had to spend more threat to do that. As Because of the older version that you're running with, it doesn't keep track of it doesn't keep exact track of what doors were what rooms were opened. But it does keep a log of who used code.
It doesn't keep track of comlink or com badge locations.
No.
Okay.
Especially because you said you're looking for the room stuff. So, you do manage. I will note for fairness, you pull up the list of you pull up you're able to pull up the door list just for the sleeping room. Because
Okay.
because those are separated into a separate subfolder of access log. Because they're modular. So those have a slightly they have a different computer log system to them that's kept cached separately. But still in the computer system of the runabout. So you see a couple of times, Karak used his code multiple times. I think he used it like a good dozen at least. You see the Lieutenant Morsi's code used. A few times, like 3 or 4 times. And you see Ensign Perez's code used once.
Okay. Any match the time frame about what 40 minutes ago or so?
Okay. Yeah, sure. Do you have any momentum?
Nope.
Then I will not give you that information.
Can we buy it with threat?
Sure. I'll say you can.
Cool. If that's okay
Well,
with you, Greg.
Well, this doesn't make any sense. Only one code was used around 40 minutes ago, and that was Ensign Perez.
And which one's is that the redhead or the girl? My bad, I missed.
It's him.
Okay.
But there's a problem with that.
His
You
code
can roll
wouldn't
it.
open the door. Sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, but I'm assuming this info would be relayed to me at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I'll of course keep you in the loop with everything. But I don't unless he cut out. I don't know why there's a problem with that. I didn't miss that part.
Well, I mean, his code shouldn't be able to unlock this door.
Unless he was a Cardassian infiltrator. Quick, take his blood.
Is that what you wanted him to roll for?
Oh, I have no idea.
So yeah, so the thing is, so Perez's code should only open Perez's door.
Can I check the computer settings to see if those are the proper security locks on his code?
Sure, give me reason security difficulty 1, assisted by the ship's computer security.
Okay.
Generate a momentum. Yeah. the locks on his code since the start of this mission have been he can access any of the common areas and his own quarters.
Nothing else. Huh.
So, who issued these codes? Was it this guy?
Yeah.
All right. Is there any mention of overrides used? Like command overrides or anything like that that would...
Well, the codes that both you and him have effectively act as that.
Okay.
Because you're effectively the two senior most officers on this ship.
Can I change the access code to his door so I can keep him locked in there and he can't get out? Or at least that's the goal.
Yeah, you could do that. You could tell the computer to do that.
I'll do that.
To not accept his access code.
Okay. Do I feel like I've thoroughly searched the crime scene sufficiently, I guess?
I'd say so.
Okay. Yeah, I was just double checking because I made a bunch of rolls. Also, I didn't mean to step on Greg's toes. If there's more you want to do there.
No, that was. I just want to sort of check out. To me, that was one of the obvious things there. Hey, let's see who was in and out of the rooms, possibly.
Yeah, good idea.
But I mean, I guess try to pull up this guy's history. I mean, if so far if he's the ensigns in terms of like his Starfleet records.
Okay. Give me reason. Insight command. Difficulty of 3, assisted by the ship's computers command. And I'm spending 2 threat, and I'm increasing your comp range by 1.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'll buy with momentum. I'm doubtful when to get this, but bang.
And the computer?
Nope.
Not enough. Yeah, no, his record seems to be fairly immaculate. I mean, it's a pretty bog standard Starfleet record.
What do we know about this trade agreement? Is it like what's it governing exactly?
Effectively, and I'll give you this without rolling because this is stuff you'd be made aware of. The Helmet 3 is home to a unique resource, which is used in experimental power conduit fabrication. It could, I don't want to say revolutionize. That's a bit much, but
Enhance.
it could set ahead research in conduit fabrication a good decade. If the Federation is able to get a steady supply of it, and that's what this trade agreement would effectively allow.
What's the Federation's history with these guys?
The Federation ran into these guys relatively recently, about 5 years ago. Talks have been, a little here, a little there. But it was really just mainly because one of their, we didn't find them, they found us.
Okay. Well, how did the oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing I should clarify. They one of their scout ships wandered into Federation space about 5 years
ago. And how have the trade negotiations gone over the last 2 weeks? well or
Uh,
not so well, or
Give me Insight Command difficulty of 2. Assisted by the shuttle's computers command for you to read up a bit more on the diplomatic situation.
I'll buy a die with threat.
Okay. I'll take a threat. And the shuttle's computers command.
Oh, right.
Nice. That's another hit. That's 2 momentum.
Cool.
Well, the move has been generally received as a good thing on the Federation side. There have been some grumblings on the Halmodian side. There are some Halmodians who, to put it simply, think they could have that the Halmodian Republic could have gotten a better deal. Whether it be from the Orions or the Ferengi, or any of the other trade any of the other trade or pirate groups.
They must not have dealt with the Ferengi before.
But so there is a faction of the Halmodians who, but it's a small one. There is a faction of the Halmodians who think that the Halmodian Republic is getting gypped, or at least they're not getting the best deal they could.
All right. I will buzz this guy. I'm gonna interview. I'll keep Grack informed of what I'm doing. So basically, I tell him I investigated the crime scene and nothing to report really, and that I'm going to begin interviewing the inhabitants of the shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
He's I mean, you're basically I'm doing that so Grack can feel. You can feel like if you want to have Grack join me, you can. Although we'll have to figure out what to do with this guy. We don't want to leave him up here. I'll take Grack's response as a maybe.
Yeah, no, that's fine. This way it keeps us both in a loop. We'll figure out what's going on here. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm thinking myself. Sorry, I'm quiet.
No, it's cool. I was just
Um,
trying to keep you involved as much as you want to be, so it's not the Karak show.
yeah, it's trying to think. I'm really just trying to think of the motivation. Like, why kill this guy? So far, everything seems like it would have been a great deal.
Well, that is yet to be uncovered, but I have some suspicions.
True. Well, and yeah, the fingerprints were wiped off. I mean, I guess we could search the ensign's room. And the next step, I guess, would be we'd be tossing everyone's room at that point, seeing if we could find any other shreds of evidence, gloves or what have you. I mean, who uses gloves anymore? Well,
Okay,
really, I mean, when the med base sterilize your hands as you're working with them with force fields, who uses gloves?
I don't know. Engineers dealing with radiation and such. I'll buzz this guy.
And yeah, he opens the door.
I need a moment of your time.
Of course.
May I enter?
Not like I have a choice.
Karak says nothing and shuts the door. Please have a seat.
And he sits at the edge of the bed.
I'll need to ask you a few questions to try to determine the cause of the delegate's murder.
Very well, ask away.
How long have you...
Anything to help bring the perpetrator to justice.
Indeed. How long have you known the delegate?
I have been one of his attaches for 5 years.
How would you describe your relationship?
Well enough. I wouldn't say I personally agreed with every policy that he had, but he was a good man.
Yes. How did you feel the trade negotiations were going?
I do not think it is my place to speak on those matters.
Interesting. And why is that?
Because I am but an assistant. It is to uh, it is to those who lead to have opinions on such things.
Well, in order to assist me in the investigation, any insight would be beneficial.
Hmm. Well, I suppose if I had to speak honestly, make sure that this is just in your report and nowhere else. Um, I personally think that the Halmodian Republic was too eager to accept a deal with the Federation just because you are bigger and more powerful.
I see. You did not feel that it was a fair deal?
Oh, it was a fair deal. But there is so much more we could do.
Such as?
Well, there have been lucrative offers from the Ferengi among other trade organizations. I won't bore you with the numbers.
They offered a better deal?
Than what the Federation is offering? Yes.
Why do you suppose the delegate chose our offer over the others?
As I said, you are more powerful.
So it was a political choice?
All trade negotiations are political, sir. Work in the world I have long enough, and you'll come to see that.
How many trade negotiations have you assisted with?
Countless. But most of those are internal. Among the trade unions of the Republic.
How would you characterize the choices made in these trade agreements in the past?
Oh, this is fairly standard, I would say.
So they
Again, I don't entirely agree with the Federation being chosen, but I still cannot deny it will be good for Halmud.
So he's characterizing them all as basically, like he said, like they're politically motivated, maybe not the best deal historically in their trade agreements, but it was the best for Halmod 3 politically, I assume is what he's saying.
Yeah. Yeah, effectively they chose what's politically expedient. Brownie points with the Federation over the best monetary deal.
Right, but like historically in the other trade agreements he's been involved in, does he feel similarly or
Yeah, I mean, like that's his political that's like his political leaning.
right? Um. Okay, so let me ask you, what is this guy's name?
Oh, I'm sure I gave you one. It was. Oh, I didn't. I never gave you this one. I am Palos.
Let me ask you, Palos, who would stand to benefit from the delegate's demise?
Well, if this truly does become as dire a situation as it sounds, he truly is dead and the negotiation falls through, well, I suppose one of the other trade groups would benefit. We would sign with them.
And who had the best offer aside from the Federation?
Well, now, that depends on who you ask.
Well, I'm asking you.
Well, if it were personally up to me, I think the Orions had a fairly decent monetary scheme. But that's just me personally.
If I were to ask someone else, what would they say?
Well, if you were to ask someone else, they might say the Ferengi, or they might say, God forbid, the Peugeot Star Authority.
Not a fan?
Well, given that the Chigo concern collapsed, their ability to do serious trade has, well, I shouldn't be discussing this.
Can I make a insight check at this point to see how this guy's reacting in regards to the delegate's demise and if he's being straight with me?
Yeah, sure. Insight command opposed.
Oh,
Or insight security opposed.
Uh,
I'm going to spend a threat.
does composure apply?
No.
Need some interrogation action up in here.
Eh.
I will buy a die with momentum and then a second die with threat.
So you're giving me 2? Okay.
Yeah.
Then I net gain of 1. I assume you meant to. Oh, that's 4 hits.
I went fishing, yeah.
Yeah. You gain 2 momentum. Yeah, he seems to be on the level with you. Again, like, he's uncomfortable because you're making him talk politics during a murder investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But he seems to be talking straight with you. But, you know, he's a politician.
Yeah. Any peculiarities in his behavior, like he's trying to hide something or anything like that?
No, not really.
Okay. Why do you believe the Orion deal was better than, say, the Ferengi or anyone else?
And I'll say he goes into it, just to keep things moving, he goes into a bit of a spiel about, like, economic theory. It's kind of dry and kind of boring.
All right. Well then I will thank him for his time and ask him to remain in his quarters.
So actually,
I'll try to be diplomatic about it though by explaining that there was a murder. So for everyone's safety, it's best if everyone remains in their quarters for the duration of the journey.
It is, however, at this point, I am going to spend 4 threat. And
Is it possible? Oh, go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
I was wondering if it was possible to set up the ship's shuttle sensors to like set some sort of alert or whatever if any of the doors are opened that I could receive.
That's fine. You can do that. That's something you can easily tell the computer to do.
Okay.
However, it is actually not long after this, because you guys have spent a while doing all of this, that you actually arrive.
All right.
And it's actually as you're about to arrive in system that that you get a chime from the lieutenant's you get a chime from the coming from down the hall at this door.
Like the door was opened, or he's buzzing me.
Yes. Sorry, that he was buzzing you. So actually, no. I will say your comm badge chirps.
Okay, this is correct.
Are we? I hear we're now approaching the system. Look, I know that this is technically your investigation for now because you're higher ranked than me, but I think we should gather everyone together and have a talk about this.
Yes. I will be with you shortly. Karak out.
I think, Doctor, the only thing I want to check is maybe because I mean, obviously runabouts have transporters on them. Were there any like site to site transports done in the inside the runabout?
Good idea.
Because I still don't think a lieutenant would be able to open that, or anyone would be able to open that door.
Give me insight. Give me insight. Insight engineering difficulty 2, assisted by the ship's computers engineering.
Do you want to do that from the con, or do you want me to do it and you assist or something?
Well, mine is a 10. What do you got?
What, insight engineering?
Yeah.
13.
Yeah, I'll let you know. An idea I've got, like, hey, what about this?
Great idea. I will inspect. So, what was the difficulty? 2?
2.
I will buy a die with momentum.
Okay.
Yeah, Karak's kind of focuses our security and engineering with the.
Okay, and someone roll the ship's roll the d20 for the ship.
You want to roll that, Greg?
Yep. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's okay. That's 4 against difficulty 2. That's 2 momentum.
Cool.
As no, nobody has used the transporter.
All right. It was a good idea, but that's something we can mark off, perhaps.
It's something, yeah.
Sorry?
It's something, yeah.
I guess I'll go ahead and interview this guy before we arrive.
So that threat spend was saying that you're just about to arrive. Yeah. So you don't have time for another full interview.
Okay, well then I'll contact the Ganymede. I'll calm Commander Dahl.
Yeah, Dahl, you get a communication from the shuttlecraft Thames, the runabout Thames.
Commander Dahl here. Go ahead.
This is Lieutenant Commander Kurek. We are presently arriving in system. As you're aware, we've had an incident aboard. No, unfortunately, the diplomat is dead. He says very matter-of-factly.
Barring the obvious murder, everybody else is all right?
Yes, no one else is harmed.
What's your status? With the investigation?
I have yet to interview
I've interviewed one uh, suspect, or I don't know what you'd call him, person of interest. Yet the remainder have not yet been interviewed. I've determined that there was a stabbing and a scuffle. There are no prime suspects yet. However, only the lieutenant and myself had access to the chambers. However, someone else's code was used on the door, which should not have been uh, able to have been done. And the delegate's assistant seems to have a political agenda aside from that of the diplomat. So it's possible that they could be a suspect as well.
Well, it sounds like your investigation is well underway, but not finished. How can I
Yes.
assist you at this time? Do you need me to buy you more time?
The yes, the lieutenant aims to take over the investigation as soon as we arrive, as this is the the space station's property or vessel. However, that would be inappropriate. He is a suspect.
I would say please continue with your investigation. If there's any heat to take for it, I will certainly take it. That is an order. Please do make sure that all people stay on board until your investigation is concluded.
Very well. I will look over at Grack and say, full stop.
Actually, I was gonna ask that. I was like, well, can I just switch us to like warp 1? No one's gonna know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, you said full stop, so full stop.
Yeah. Well, warp 1. How long would that add to our? We're just arriving, though, right?
Yeah, you're just arriving. It really won't add much. But yeah, you could go to full stop and
That works.
wait for the Ganymede to arrive.
Yeah. I could use, and then I'll back to Doll. We could use, medical. I'm not able to do a complete medical study, given the.
I believe they would call it the cavalry back at home. You need the cavalry to come in, yes?
Yes,
Secret.
some assistance is requested.
You have done admirably. I will be there as soon as we can manage.
Thank you, Commander. Correct out.
And at this point,
No more warp space.
So,
Exactly.
Mag, I don't know if the GM will allow us to use redeemed rerolls for this particular game, because it's kind of a little bit of a mechanics issue. So I have a feature on my redeem points on my channel where people can grant a reroll for my other games, but I don't know if you'll allow that to run on this game.
Yeah, I don't want to go into stuff like that.
Yeah, so Mag, I'm going to give you back your redeemed points, and they will be not valid for this game.
That's a pretty cool idea, though.
It is. Where was I?
We're at a full stop and I've requested assistance from the Ganymede.
Yeah. So the Ganymede is en route.
Excellent. I would now like to go interview this guy.
Okay. So yeah, you walk into his room. Commander, Can we just get this over with?
You seem rather agitated, Lieutenant.
Well, you've locked me in my room and aren't letting me participate in the investigation at all. You haven't given me any information.
What does this guy do exactly? He's security on the station?
Yeah, he is a member of station security that has been. He's not like the chief of security on the station.
Lieutenant, surely in your position as security, you understand the need for to continue the investigation without interference from.
You're just as much of a suspect as I am, and we both know it.
Karak raises an eyebrow.
You have the same security codes I do.
I see your point, and I will willingly submit to any interview with the appropriate investigative authority.
Let's go. Carrick, did you do it? I did not. Good enough for me. He's a
Pretty
Vulcan.
much.
They don't lie.
It would be illogical. Why would he?
Narrows his eyes at you.
I can promise you he's not a Romulan.
However, in the interim, I would like to ask you a few questions if you'd please have a seat.
Mm-hmm. Fine. What do you want to know?
Only you and I had access to the delegates' quarters. Is that correct?
That's correct. Our access codes can open any of the crew quarters.
Would anyone else be able to access the diplomats' quarters other than you or I?
Unfortunately not. The other codes we've given out are only good for one's own room.
So how would you explain the situation?
The only thing I can think of is that you used your codes to enter. You see why I'm suspicious of you.
Yes. However, that would be highly illogical. What would I have to gain?
And what would I have to gain?
That is a great question. I'm glad you asked. What would you have to gain?
Are you insinuating something, sir?
I am not. I'm merely asking if you would have anything to gain.
I would not. This entire mission would go up in smoke.
That would be bad.
This entire mission has gone up in smoke, if you haven't noticed. The Admiral is going to have my hide for this who knows how long. My career has been set back years because of this mess. I have everything to lose.
Well, then I suppose you are above suspicion.
And what about you?
Go on.
You've just been traipsing around this runabout at your will. Huh. You could have contaminated the crime scene. You could have planted evidence.
Yes, well, the difference between you and I, though there are several, I'm sure, is that I have a witness as to my location during the time of the murder. Do you?
No, I do not.
So, if this mission were to fail, who would benefit?
Why are you asking me?
I'm hoping
I-
that you can assist me in the investigation.
I'm just a security officer. My job is to make sure that one person gets from one place to another safely, and I have failed.
Am I getting any kind of read on this guy?
Insight, command, opposed. Spend
All right. I'll buy a die with momentum and a second die with threat.
giving me 2.
Yep.
Nice.
Oof.
You tie.
Hmm.
So I'll say you can't get a read on him. He seems like he's being honest, but he's also really angry.
Would composure have helped me in that situation?
No.
Oh well. All right.
I thought ties go to the active player in this situation. They just don't generate any momentum.
Uh, I think you might be right. I'll have to double check that, but I'll let you have it for now. In which case, I will let you know. Yeah, he seems like he's genuinely frustrated with this situation. I mean, there's a health, and you are detecting like suspicion, like genuine suspicion.
Very well. Uh, that is all I need for now. Thank you for your time. I will be back if I have any further questions. Please remain in your quarters.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll. I don't know how long that interview took, but if
That interview took long enough for the game to arrive.
okay.
And it is to this point, the lieutenant, the lieutenant chimes over to you and says, "Commander, I would like to be let out of my room now. I do have a shuttlecraft that I have to command."
Not yet. We have not arrived yet.
Are you just like flat out lying to him?
No, we haven't arrived. We went to a full stop right before we got there.
Well,
He's
the-
not lying.
He's
But
not
the ga-
lying.
I mean, but the Ganymede has arrived, so in all effect, like yes, like this is the point where you should be preparing to beam over to the Ganymede.
Well, that's superseded by a murder investigation, so I tell him to stay put.
Okay, duly noted.
This is my ship, meh. Sit down, Lieutenant.
Yeah,
You see this? You see
basically-
this extra pip?
Yeah, basically what I'm doing is I'm deferring to the commander. Like at this point, when the Ganymede arrives, it's now under Dahl's command. Like meaning I'm no longer in command. Dahl is, so I'm saying hold tight, hang tight there, buddy. Well, that'll be determined
Technically-
shortly.
I did give you an order to do that, so
Yep.
you are in the right.
Good.
If there's an admiral to get mad at, he can get mad at me. So yeah, whatever the Ganymede needs to do to assist in the murder investigation.
Yeah, basically, I was hoping for a doctor or an EMH or whatever if our doctor is not present, and maybe a security team and
Absolutely can have those.
an engineering team for like in-depth scans, maybe. Would like a forensics team? Would that be engineering or medical or science?
Yes.
Like that's what I'm
Okay.
asking for, basically,
So
is a
yeah,
forensics
you
team.
can bring those over. I am gonna spend 2 threat though, and again, just to keep things moving. They don't find anything. They don't find any other forensic.
Okay. Well, I'm keeping Dahl up to date on what we've uncovered thus far, and then I will relay suspicions that I have that I believe that the murder was somehow connected to the trade agreement, and that someone wanted the trade agreement to fail, and there are various motivations as to why. The primary one being that there's a subsection of uh, their species who would have preferred to have gotten a deal with the Orions or the Ferengi or some other faction, a better deal. So I
Ugh.
relay all of that stuff and ask if there's any information that you could glean from other channels or uh, further research.
You
I
know
think you
what?
were spot on when you asked who can benefit the most. Who would have, in that immediate situation, benefited the most from the removal of that diplomat? Who's next in line who would have taken over his job?
Do I know the answer to that?
Have we gotten a chance to talk to the lieutenant whose code was used?
Not yet.
Okay.
The lieutenant who's oh, you mean the ensign?
I'm sorry,
Perez.
Ensign. I'm sorry, Ensign. Yep. 1 pip.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Perez yet. But as far as Dahl's question, do we have an answer as to who would be next in line?
I'll give you that answer. It's something that would have to be determined by the Republic. It's an appointed position.
Okay, so there's not necessarily someone next in line. It's just it gets appointed. Is there like any runners up, like someone who's a obvious choice?
I'm gonna say no, and I'll even be kind again and to keep things moving. You're barking up the wrong tree.
Okay.
No obvious motive comes out of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, aside from the motive that some faction maybe didn't want the trade to go through, or is that barking up the wrong tree as well?
I won't tell you that.
All right.
Disrupting the talks might have been enough to have pulled off, like halted the agreement, if I heard correctly earlier. So that's also a thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'll interview the Ensign Perez.
Very good.
Okay. Commander.
Ensign, please have a seat.
All right.
Can you tell me your whereabouts at whatever time that was, 0300 or whatever, whatever time it was that occurred?
Well, I did go. I think I had just finished watching a movie, and I think I took a trip to the bathroom. Up at the 4. Then I came back to my room, and it was probably 10 minutes after that I heard the scream and came running.
I see. So you did not enter the delegate's room?
No, I entered my own room.
Can I make an insight check on that?
Mm-hmm.
As
Insight.
opposed-
Yeah. Insight command. I'm not even going to spend threat on this one.
All right. Well, I will spend a momentum for one day. Yeesh. I'll
Yeah, no,
I'll quash that.
Okay. Spending your 2 momentum. Okay. Yeah. He says he entered his room and you don't detect any hint of deception there.
Could you explain why your command code was used to enter the delegate's chambers?
So I'll clarify to you. It doesn't say what room the codes were used.
Oh, it just says a door.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. So he says he went to the bathroom at the exact time the murder occurred, but he doesn't seem to be lying. And did he see anything? Did you see anything on your trip to the refresher or whatever they call it in space?
No, not a thing, sir.
And you heard nothing?
No, sir.
How do you like your station?
It's fine.
What is it that you do exactly?
Well, currently I fly shuttles, moving people like the lieutenant and, well, that diplomat around.
Have you transported other diplomats?
No, sir. This was my first such assignment.
Have you worked with this lieutenant previously?
Well, he is my superior officer. But again, I've only been assigned to Deep Space Aegis since it came online a few weeks ago. Most of us are only just getting to know each other.
What are your impressions so far of your
Well,
coworkers?
oh wait, what did you ask?
What are his impressions so far of, like, his fellow crewmates and his superior officers and such?
They're all fine, I suppose.
It's a glowing endorsement.
Again,
Anything-
again, it's only been a couple weeks.
Do you directly report to the lieutenant?
Yeah.
And how would you characterize the lieutenant?
Well, he's got a bit of a stick up his butt, but I mean, aren't most security guys like that? I mean, sorry,
What's
sir.
this?
Like,
What's
he
this
looks like he
say?
was about to say something aimed at you, but then thought better of it.
Karak gives him a look like he's mulling over the stick and up the butt comment. And so he's stern.
Yeah. But I mean, security guys are like that. Even in the academy.
I suppose it comes with the territory. Anything else you can tell me about the lieutenant?
Not really. Again, I've only been serving under him a couple weeks.
So he's not said or done anything that stood out to you?
Not really. Sorry I can't be of more help, sir.
All right. I'll pull up if I can on the computer. I'll try to verify what he said as far as, like, his assignment and, like, or his assignments and
Yeah, I mean
reporting and all that stuff.
all that stuff checks.
Okay. So everything he said checked out, and he didn't seem like he was not being forthcoming based on my insight and all that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't have any further questions for you at this time. Please remain in your quarters.
Oh, Commander,
Yes.
we've stopped.
Yes. Insightful.
You're in the back room, right? Is that where you went?
Well, I thought you were
I'm sorry.
saying
I
he
thought
said that
you...
as I was leaving.
Oh
Yes.
no, I'm sorry. No. That's Kenson.
They both sound like Grennan to me, but sure.
Haha, sure. With you.
So yeah. So same thing though. Yes, indeed. I have a few questions for you.
Well, you pretty much saw everything.
Yes, can you
I
tell
got
me
a
your
readout on my terminal telling me that there was a ping coming from there was a request coming from the delegate's room. I went and opened the door. I tried to chime him. Well, I suppose I chimed him, then I tried the door. Then I chimed him again.
When did you receive the chime or the ping?
Well, geez, it was just at the start of it was just before the start of the shift.
So how, like, basically I'm trying to track down like how long before or after the murder that might have occurred.
Okay. Give me presence command difficulty of 2.
All right. Is it opposed or? Oh no, it's a difficulty 2. I'll
And you compose your focus word.
Oh, okay.
You're
I
trying to
will.
coax some. You're trying to coax a memory out of her.
Sure. I'll buy a die with threat.
Wait.
Do it.
Do it.
That's pretty good.
What? My
Palpatine.
Do it.
Yeah, that's good.
Unlimited power. Anyway,
Wait, I look around the shuttle. I'm starting to get nervous.
no,
You will pay for your lack of vision.
have you heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? She says, "Oh well, I think it was about 5 minutes before the start of the shift, and
we got a momentum, by the way, though.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
you got a momentum. And Karak, something about that strikes you.
Oh,
If your reasoning was right, he should have been dead for about 10 minutes before that.
okay. So a ping came from his room 10 minutes after his death. Is there a way to verify that that is accurate?
If you want, you can check the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, a ping, a ping came from the room, registered to the Jahon at the exact time that Kenson told you, and it was approximately 3 minutes after that your records show that you two discovered the body.
Can I check the computer to verify the accuracy that this ping originated in the quarters, or could it have been spoofed and originated elsewhere?
You want to spend a momentum?
Okay.
Yes, the ping originated from the quarters, registered to diplomat Jahon.
Okay. So someone was in the room 10 minutes after the murder, is what I'm gathering. Is that correct?
And
That's what it
it
would
wasn't us.
What'd you say, Brendan?
That's what it would seem like. Because the ping happened 3 minutes before you guys discovered the body. Like 3 to 5 minutes before that whole thing happened.
And no doors were opened in between that time and the time of the discovery of the body?
Between what and the discovery?
Were any doors open between the time of the ping from the diplomat's room and the time that his body was discovered?
No.
Does this lady seem like she's being forthright with me?
Yeah, I won't even make you roll for this. Like she's been such an emotional wreck that you don't think she could lie.
Is there such a thing as like well, I know during the Dominion War, the what are those guys called?
The enemy. Changelings.
The enemy.
Not changelings,
Boonheads?
the big guys with the juicers.
Jem'Hadar.
Jem'Hadar, there we go.
Oh.
They have like personal cloaking devices or something? Like
Yes, they
active
that they do.
camouflage? Is there a way to scan for that?
I'll say that the Ganymede can either the Ganymede or you can scan for that.
I'll ask the Ganymede. I'll calm Doll and ask if she can scan for any sort of active camouflage or cloaking aboard this.
That'll be insight, security, difficulty of 1, assisted by the ship's sensor security. So it's actually difficulty 0. You don't even have to
Roll it anyway. We need the momentum.
roll.
I don't know if Doll can hear us. She said our Discord was cutting out. Oh, maybe.
And the ship sensors security. You are not detecting any active cloaking tech. You gain a momentum. And I should clarify, you're not picking up any cloaking tech, period. Because that kind of tech gives off a... that kind of tech has a signature that's easy to pick up.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask her to kind of wrap up the interview if she can provide, if she has any more information she can provide.
I mean, that's about all I know, sir.
Where was this guy at that time?
Who?
This guy, Cha. I can't remember his name.
Oh, Pakcha.
Pakcha. Were you with Pakcha?
No.
Back here?
I think he was back here the whole time.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Is like they were both back here until she received the ping, and then she left him.
Remember, she came up about halfway through the shift, to be like, "Hey, want a hand?"
Yeah. But aside from that, they were together the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay. And when did she come up? Halfway through the shift, but that was like before the murder, right?
Yeah, that was like 2-3 hours before.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I can't think of anything else to ask her, so I'll tell her to stay put, and I will relay my findings thus far. I have yet to interview this guy, but I am gonna check this room again for like, I don't know, like smuggling compartments or something. These guys.
That stuff is already that was all in that search
Oh,
where you
okay.
had a couple people come over. Nothing else was found.
All right.
Of
Well, we could tell that our transporters weren't used, but can we detect any energy signatures from an external transporter being used?
you would not be able to determine something.
I have a
I'd
quick
say.
question. I remember in a
Yes.
particular episode of Star Trek, they managed to use holographic emitters to basically see like hollow residue of like actual people moving in that one episode of I think it was TNG or something like that, where they had like a murder most foul on the holodeck. Can we use that
I'd say
similar
would probably
technology
only
to
work
kind
in
of
a holodeck.
Okay, so we can't scope this room with like emitters and stuff like that. That's what I was thinking, but okay.
Yeah.
Darn.
I'll go ahead and head up here and interview this guy. Hot chop.
So are you gonna let Rack in on all the info?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not in this guy's presence, but
Oh.
yeah,
Well,
I am sharing.
Okay. Rack. Again, because I do want to keep things moving. I want you to give me a reason con roll. Difficulty of 4.
Don't forget to buy dice.
Yeah, I'll buy one with momentum and the other one with 2 threat.
Yes. And O.
And difficulty force. I guess I'll try to burn determination for value. No points for second place.
What other values do you have?
Always count on number 1. Next great adventure is right around the corner. And look after your wingman.
So, your value always count on number 1. How does that help you if you always have to count on Karak for everything? Ha! I'm kidding.
I will drive this ship right into a black hole.
Yeah, I'm totally kidding. I would never argue with a man with such wonderful hair.
True. If not, it's fine. I'm just trying to anything.
Yeah,
I'll roll
I'm
4
gonna-
dice and
Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
that's fine.
So,
I'll just do that instead.
Yeah, you hit it. You got a complication though. I'm just gonna take the threat. So, hearing all of this, so much of this does not make sense.
you're telling us.
Yeah.
There are so many things that don't seem to fit. Before I give you a more straight answer, I am going to give you the hint that in regards to some of the things that you may think are impossible, I would suggest turning your thinking about them around.
Because my main thought is like, if the one other guy doesn't want the thing to go through because there's better offers out there, clearly.
I'll clarify. This hint I'm giving you has nothing to do with the motive. and has everything to do with explaining some of these impossibilities.
Well, there's like a lot of impossibilities.
Right. If you're unable to come to the specific one I'm thinking of, I'll give it to you. Because you made the roll.
When they checked for, you know, when they checked the room, were we able to get any kind of energy signatures for like phasing devices or anything of that kind?
Hold on. I will let you know that the answer you're kind of looking for is far more simple than like a sci-fi technobabble solution.
Well, I mean, my first thought was that the guy offed himself, just because there's no, seemingly impossible for anyone to get in there other than this guy or myself.
So hold on.
I don't know what his motive would have been to do that, though, to make it look like. I mean, his motive would have been to see the negotiations fail, but if that's the case, why would he could have done that at any point in the last 2 weeks, because he's the delegate in charge of that.
Okay, I'm gonna send you something, Mad Larkin.
Okay.
Tell me if this helps you.
Discord.
Question.
Okay. Who could get into whose room?
What was our proximity to the radiation, or whatever anomaly, whatever that was?
A couple light
during...
years. Like it wouldn't have affected you at all.
Well, I mean, during the murder, like how far away were we? Like close to it, or far away?
That was hours after. That was like at least 10 hours after that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna try to understand that. All right. Who can get whose room through the ground? So the two. I assume Grak can only open up his room. He's a lieutenant. He can only get to his room, and I assume the console. That's what he has access to.
Yeah, and all the other like common areas, like the bathroom.
Yeah. So, and that was the diplomat's room, right? He's not in someone else's room randomly, is he? Like that's his assigned room.
Yeah, I mean, he could have left though, but there's no record of his door opening other than this guy opening
Grak,
it. Or
no. I think you may have just solved it.
Whose room is that?
Whose room is what?
Is the diplomat? Whose room is that?
Oh, normally?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whose room is it normally?
I guess I'll check the duty roster.
Mm-hmm. I'm also going to send you something. Will you take it?
I don't know what those last 4 words mean, but yes.
I assume you have figured it out now.
Well, yes, that's okay. Yeah, that's not there. Okay, yeah, I'll gather it up. I don't know what those last 4 words mean. I don't know who that is, but yes, I will do that. I think I know what you're looking for.
Yeah, take a determination.
Okay. And yeah, I'll gather everyone. I guess in the common area. Or at least I'll inform. I of course will still inform Karak of what I found out, and then we'll gather everyone in the common area, for the big reveal.
What have you found out?
We shall see.
It'll be there.
You're not gonna tell me first.
We'll have him tell you, but
Yeah.
you will know. But it's I'm angling for, as I described to him, the Hercule Poirot reveal.
Yeah, I have no idea who that is. All right, let me Google that real quick.
All right. He discovered this through the con.
Yep, something specifically to do with the con.
Okay. I'm curious.
That is, I don't know. That's so super loud. That is super loud. Stop. Oh my god. Damn you, YouTube, you're loud.
Has it been a scene since I got cut by that thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Your stress is gone. That you're fine.
If there's a big reveal and I don't know what's coming and it's a secret, then I'm gonna be ready to stun whoever attacks. Maybe.
Yes. You know who. I'll say you know who is gonna get accused here, but
It was
you're-
Q.
I'm ready to stun Q. If need be.
So
Finally.
we've been
I thought
we've been
I-
going we've been going
So-
about this assuming that it was a locked door, no one can get in or out, and that was the delegate's room. That's not the delegate's room. His code would not work on the door. That room
What do you-
is
What do you mean?
that is I've got the thing. Look at it again. That room is Perez's room. He's the only person who could have gotten in and out of that room. That wasn't the lieutenant commanders.
What? You're kidding. No. Like, Perez stands up. Are you insane? I've been in my room the whole time. And he points to the bulkhead through which the room he's been staying in is behind it.
That is not your room.
Of course it's my room.
And I'm sorry, just Annika, which one is Perez again? It's the red or the yellow circle?
The red circle.
Okay, him. Then can you do me a favor and punch in your code into that door?
His face flushes. Okay. He walks over to it. Beep beep boop. And it gives him a negative code. Oh, my door to my room has been acting up.
I'm sure it has. I'm sure it works just like the old Earth ATM machines. You probably have 3 tries. You give it a chance.
Presses it again.
Perhaps you would like the lieutenant to assist you again?
You see him choking a bit. Grak, give me Presence command. Difficulty of 2, and Karak can assist.
I have barely any presence and barely any command, but okay.
Is this a composure thing?
No.
Okay.
I will say, let me look at your sheet. I will take always count on number 1.
Okay, sure, I'll spend that. And why not? I'll give you a threat too, because it's fun.
That'll do it. But to do that, spending all 4 of my threat. Oh, nuts to this! And he pulls out his phaser.
I stun him.
Yeah, go ahead, roll.
Tactical alert. Vessel approaching. Bearing 184, Mark 7.
Because you are you're not at melee range, but you're you're at close, so you're.
Okay. Is there? I'm always confused on the effects. Like, I know you can like minor action or something to charge an effect, like vicious or intense or area
Mhm.
or piercing or whatever.
Yeah.
How does that work exactly?
You
Like-
have to take a minor action to charge your phaser, and you choose what effect you want.
Okay, and I just don't know what the like vicious lets you the effects count as 2, and piercing. How does piercing work?
Piercing gets through resistance.
Okay.
Yeah, Starfleet uniforms aren't really known for being
Yeah,
armored.
He doesn't have.
And intense, what does that do?
If you do a wound, you do another wound.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wasn't sure because like every time in the other game I played in, every time I stunned somebody, they died. And
That's weird.
They shouldn't be
that's what I
dying.
thought.
Star Trek always assumes you're swinging for stun damage. You actually have to spend threat to swing for lethal.
Yeah, I know. I was always stunned, but like I was stunned that I killed them with stun. So that's why I was verifying that I wasn't going to accidentally kill this guy by using using an effect. What does aim do?
Aim lets you re-roll one of the dice.
Okay, I will aim. I'll minor action aim and stun him. And I will spend a threat for a die.
Okay. Nice. Roll phaser damage.
Did I get a momentum back on that shot?
No, because it was difficulty 3.
Oh.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 3, 4,
7?
5, 6, 7 damage. I am spending the threat you gave me and the one threat I have remaining to let him avoid the injury.
What's the thing that not a minor action, but the other thing where you can shoot again?
You need momentum to do it.
Swift task, or you can give me threat.
You could give him threat.
Swift task. I'll swift task to shoot again.
Okay, this is difficulty 4.
All right. I will buy 2. Wait. Precision targeting is for targeting. Specific, yes, that's what I thought. I will buy. Yeah, I guess quick to add doesn't help. That's just for keeping the initiative.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy 3 dice with threat, but I'm going to use my metal. Whichever one.
You roll the 3 dice, and I might not get as much threat.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. I have a Starfleet Decoration of Gallantry and the citation for conspicuous gallantry. I don't remember.
Yeah, one of those does that.
Yeah. I don't know what the other one does. I know one of them does that, and the other one does something else. Like ignore wounds or something, maybe? I don't know.
I think so.
Alright. So, here's
Roll 3 challenge dice.
Okay, go ahead and roll that.
No, you do it. You're
That's what I'm asking. Like, you want me to roll the challenge dice first or the attack first?
Yes, because it determines how much threat I only get 1 threat.
Alright. There's my attack roll.
Jesus. You gain 4 momentum.
Cool.
Oh, jeez.
Can I spend any of that momentum to do something to make sure he goes down?
Yeah, you can spend. Hang on, 2. You don't have to. That's enough. Drop him. I can't spend enough threat to keep him up.
I'll quick to action the initiative just in case Grak needs to do something.
The something I need to do is I look right into the camera and deadpan. I guess he was trapped between a rock and a lower the aviators and a carack place.
Yow! There you go. I was trying to do the the Who opening of that show.
Okay.
That's awesome, dude.
And so we cut to a bit later as the lot of you are standing around the terminal. The ensign has been taken into custody and is currently in the brig on the Ganymede. Well, I gotta say, it was quite the plan the little guy worked up.
Yeah, what was the point?
Yeah, well, I was curious too. What was the plan?
Well, did a little bit of digging. Turns out mom and pops are quite the avid traders.
Ah. I thought there might be some connection there. Somebody. I thought maybe the lieutenant had a connection to some traders or something.
Me? No. Most I do is, I tend to gamble a little too much when I'm playing Dabo, but that's the worst of it.
Well, I hope you
This is
understand the need for discretion during the investigation.
But real clever of you there, Lieutenant.
Yes, my commendations to you as well, Lieutenant.
I never would have put together that he used his opportunity of loading the modules onto the runabout, switch them.
It's
See, that's what I was when I was saying secret compartments. I was thinking because that guy was loading the modules that maybe he had included some kind of secret compartment or something, but I didn't. It didn't occur to me that he had switched them.
my thought was we know the bug and the blondes. I don't think they would have done it just because she was a hot mess. There's a dead body. Yeah, and you're in the Navy. Congratulations.
If only there were a doctor around for her to swoon into the arms of.
Soon enough. Soon enough.
Like, I'm sorry, we don't install fainting couches on a runabout.
Well, we'll have to start. Yeah, that's funny. I was thinking like trying to think like Karak, where like just because he's encountered someone before doesn't make them above reproach. So he was like, everyone's a suspect, including myself. He was gonna submit himself to be investigated.
Maybe I did it. Who knows?
Well, I didn't think he did it, of course, but I'm saying like it would have been protocol to be like, once he was in.
Corn, we have the fainting couch module.
Yeah.
It could have been one of those like Tuvok episodes. Maybe I did do it.
Yeah, no, it was more like to exclude himself from the suspicion. He was going to remand himself to his quarters or something aboard the Ganymede, but never mind.
Well, Commander, I guess I owe you an apology.
It is not required.
Well, I think I can take care of things from here.
I believe so.
Actually, gonna retcon something. So he actually the ensign still is on the shuttle. He's just locked up and he will not be going anywhere because the guy says, well, looks like you lot still have some work here to do. These talks might still be salvageable.
Excellent.
Oh, question.
And at that, the door opens and Palos walks in. I must thank you, most assuredly, for finding the killer of the, for finding Jahon's killer. I believe you will be needing this. And he hands you the wrought iron staff.
And what is this?
He walks over to you and he clicks it, presses something inside of it, and the top of the staff pops open.
Oh yeah, I guess we never came back to that after my stress. What's he got in there?
It looks like there are a bunch of rolled up papers.
Why was the delegate transporting a knife in his briefcase?
Well, you saw what happened.
Yes, hence
He
my
was-
question.
Yeah, he was killed with his own knife.
Yes, why was he transporting a knife in a case?
Because the case is something that, if he was accosted and forced to open the case to give up the papers, he would have instead been able to draw his knife.
That seemed to not work out for him.
I'm afraid he's not much. I am afraid he wasn't much of a fighter.
Yeah, which I wouldn't just put a phaser in there then. Those things are fire and forget.
I'm afraid we wouldn't have been able to sneak something like that past your security screenings. Which, yeah, it occurs to you, Karak, if they had like some kind of a phaser or something in there, or equivalent sort of weapon, you would have picked up his energy signature, even through the sensor baffling
Yeah, I figured.
on the case.
Damn, I am very upset that our sensors don't pick up knives. We don't have basic metal detectors.
Well,
Yeah,
it's a special case that's designed to foil sensors,
Okay.
and it's a simple weapon, so it makes sense. That's why I wanted to look in his case earlier, because I thought it was possible he might be transporting some sort of weapon or something. That
Oh look,
But,
he was.
yep.
he was.
That's also why I wanted to open his staff to see if there were documents inside.
All the tropes.
So interesting. Well, I wish them luck on their. Well, the treaty's already done. It just has to be signed, right?
Indeed. Whether or not the president will do so after this incident remains to be seen, but given the efficiency with which you caught the killer, I think I would be willing to throw my voice behind it.
Very good.
So we'll pick up a bit later on the bridge of the Ganymede.
Real quick, on the way
Yes.
back, on the way out of the shuttle, as Grack and I are walking off to wherever, I turn to him and say, "Perhaps you have missed your calling."
Oh no, I haven't. I'm still a much better pilot than I am a detective.
That may be so.
It just seemed a bit weird that he was the only person who really was an unknown to me anyway.
Yeah.
You,
And no,
you do have a gift.
Yep. And no, that was something he only figured out because it was a shuttle question. The fact that the runabouts have the interchangeable module.
Yeah, but the fact that he caught it impresses Carrick, so he's
Yes.
like says that he's has a gift for this type of work.
Hmm.
And
You know,
the
it's
and
praise
the
from a Vulcan. I'll take it.
and the BFF arc begins.
As we pick up with Grack and Karak on the bridge of the Ganymede, we pick up with uh, both her and well, even though this hasn't gone quite the way we expected, and actually also on screen, even though he doesn't, Sir not saying anything in this scene. The actor Zoom called for this scene.
Maybe he's using force time like Kylo Ren.
Yeah, the well, the situation has been neatly explained to us, and your captain is most persuasive. I see no reason why we should not sign this agreement, especially since Jahon gave his life for it.
I am pleased that you feel this way, and you have my condolences again.
Indeed. And with this, he picks up a sheet of paper and he picks up sort of a fancy quill sort of thing, but it's like a tri-quill.
Is that like NyQuil but with 3?
No, it's like a feather quill, but it's like three feathers merging into one quill point.
Interesting.
And he scribbles something with it. It says, "And it is official."
Nice. We all jump into the air in celebration, and then it freeze frames.
Absolutely.
And so everyone is able to spend a little bit of time enjoying themselves. At Helmet 3, there's a bit of a melancholy over the whole thing. A good man died for this deal. But at the end of the day, all worked out, and the Ganymede will be able to continue on its adventure seeking out strange truths and mystery wherever it may go. And that is the end of Death on the Thames.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on Star Trek Ganymede, Season 1, Episode 13, Death on the Thames. I am your engineer, Commander Korn, and thank you to our amazing lineup of cast, and thank you very much to our GM for such a great and mysterious game. Until then, if there are any other further announcements, we'll see you among the stars. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us, and have a good night. And remember, be empowered to play.
Very good. Well, hope you guys